Welcome to the Inspiration North podcast, inspiring stories from inspirational people and how they found their passion, their true north. I'm James Eves.
And I'm Michelle Minikin, and this is the Inspiration North podcast.
Today's episode, Embracing the Madness, with Carly Morgan. We talk about how you should always surprise and delight your audience, disrupting her industry and the importance of sustainability, and how creating sprinkle mixes spawned a creative beast inside her.
Carly is the owner and founder of the Shire Bakery, an online store selling giftable baking supplies and over 150 colourful and fun sprinkle mixes. She also runs a sprinkle subscription. Launched in 2014, the company has gone from strength to strength and was recently crowned runner-up for Food and Drink Business of the Year at the Great British Entrepreneur Awards. The Shire Bakery is the world's first sprinkle company to be using plastic-free packaging on their own branded products. This is something she's very passionate about and extremely proud of. Carly is a lover of all things colourful and aims to continually surprise and delight her customers with inspiring recipes, sprinkles and hints and tips. She aims to inspire everyone to have the confidence to get into the kitchen and express themselves.
So if you're looking back then, Carly, did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Quite randomly, I wanted to be either a postman, because I really like riding my bike, or a marine biologist. So very, very different, because whilst I like riding bikes, I really, really like animals. So nothing at all how it was mapped out for me. I got told by my careers advisor quite early on as well that I could be a postman probably, but marine biology probably wasn't going to be for me.
What was that?
I don't know actually, because actually sciences was one subject that I really, really excelled in, but I think the school that I went to wasn't so good at academia, wasn't for me. So I think that mirrored in everything I did. So I was quite difficult at school, and I think there was one or two teachers that got that and actually got the best out of me, and everyone else kind of just wasn't feeling me at all.
So what, did they suggest something else then? That wasn't an
Actually,
option.
law was something that people were quite keen on me to go into, because for all I was a bit, I don't think I was a clown at school. I flicked between different social groups. So I wasn't one of the cool kids. I wasn't one of the geeks. I was friendly with everyone, which actually I think is put me in good stead in later life. But I've always been one for doing the thing that's like justice. So yeah, law was something that they were quite keen on me to push, and I did actually do law as an A-level. But yeah, it really wasn't for me. Office environment, and I'm not sensible. So I'm quite childlike, so law would not have been the career path, I think, for me. However, that being said, I love law documentaries and anything to do with law, like reading about it and things. I could sit and read it till the cows come home, but as a career, no, not creative enough at all.
So that's a good realisation then.
So, school, not in the northeast.
No, I grew up in Lincolnshire. So I was born to, my dad was a miner, and when I was born, the miners went on strike. So my mum went to work. My dad looked after. I went on the picket lines. Is that what they're called? With my dad, from being a newborn, and my mum worked and fed the village. So that was the wives' jobs while the men were on strike, and it was a really good sense of community. Something that I was far too young to pick up on because I was a baby, but my brother really took a strong sense of that with him. But mine died there and then we moved to Lincolnshire. And that's when I was 4, and I lived in Lincolnshire until I was 22.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Geordie accent, but absolutely from Lincolnshire at the same time. I have no idea. I've got a really big family from Newcastle. I only have one full brother. I've got a stepbrother and a stepsister, but my mum's one of 8 and they've all got children and things like that. So I was surrounded by northeast accents. I used to speak a little bit posher, maybe, and my mum and dad would laugh at me.
Oh.
So when I went home, I'd instantly go back to Geordie. So it's kind of, I'm probably a bit more well-spoken now than I would have been had I grew up here. But yeah, very confused with my accents. I felt, when I was little, I used to say that I was bilingual.
Yeah.
Because I would speak Southern to my friends. And then very much I was a Geordie person when I went home.
That's so funny.
I know. I still, I mean, I'm 35 now. And when me and my husband see my friends at Christmas and things, my husband, Phil, thinks it's hilarious because Southern Carly comes out and it's like, all right.
Lincolnshire's not that southern.
I know, it really isn't, but yeah, I almost sound, he calls it Cockney Carly, but I think that would be an insult to Londoners.
Yeah, we really struggled. We interviewed a chap from North Lincolnshire and we couldn't quite figure out if it was the North or the Midlands or, we didn't know.
Did he do a lot of, all right, Ducky?
No, he was from Beverley, so he was technically...
Oh, so a bit more like
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
It was definitely Yorkshire, yeah. But yeah. But yeah, Lincolnshire is one of those funny counties. You don't really quite know where. Is it north? Is it east? Is it south?
I mean, I think it's definitely like in the middle. But so I schooled in Lincolnshire and holidayed in the northeast. I was put on a train to go and play with all my cousins and things for 6 weeks. And then when I was 22, I decided that I wanted to move up here or move out of where I was living from and make a career in a city. And I was in advertising. The northeast was quite cosmopolitan for advertising. I had friends that lived in London, but Newcastle was a safer bet because I had family here. I didn't have to think about rent.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I could just come and live with family. And then I met my husband and stayed.
He stayed.
So that was in advertising.
Advertising, yeah.
What kind of advertising were you doing?
So I worked originally in Lincolnshire. I worked for outdoor pursuits kind of magazines, so canoeing, camping, caravan, motorhome magazines. I worked for quite a large publishers actually down south, and really enjoyed it and excelled and got quite far quite quickly and made a lot of money. And in my head, I thought, well, if I can do that in a small town, I could do that times 10 in a big city. So came to work for the Evening Chronicle, and then headed up the Metro newspaper as part of that, and won Salesperson of the Year, got some really, really good accolades, was very well known around Newcastle by generally restaurateurs and entertainment people because the Metro was that kind of publication. So I used to get a lot of free meals, which was good. But then I had a nervous breakdown and left.
Okay.
Bang.
We're literally 5 minutes into this. So what was it? What happened?
Well, I didn't know actually. I was due to get married in, I think it was 8 months, and I kept getting pains. Went to the doctors and they told me that I was having panic attacks, which I'd never experienced before. Manifested in them wanting me to take time off, and then I was just overly stressed, really, is probably the term I would use, and quite depressed. I had a lot going on, a lot weighing heavily on me, and sales and advertising is quite a high pressure job, and it in hindsight didn't suit my personality. So I quickly came to that realization, and then we were lucky that my husband's wages could afford to keep us for a bit while I thought about what I wanted to do. So got a job in retail, working on beauty counters for a very high-end beauty company, and started to enjoy customers and relationships and general public, and actually talking to people and finding out everything about them. Actually, they're talking like you're selling them a face cream, but you can get a lot out of people, and that was something that I really enjoyed again. It was what I enjoyed, I think, about advertising and sales without any of the pressure, because they were already coming to see you to buy something. That was a pivotal moment for me, actually, to then make me realise that actually I care about customers and I care about offering them something that, like a bespoke service almost. And I remember going on training in London, and one of the trainers for the beauty company had said that their aim is to continually surprise and delight a customer. And I loved that. And all I could think about at the time, I baked as a hobby, and all I could think about is how much, like, as a mantra in life, to just aim to continually surprise and delight your audience is a really nice thing. How could I do that? Then I kind of went from job to job a bit in retail, in office work, and then did a bit of baking on the side for bars and restaurants in the northeast. And then it came to me one night that why don't you just set up a website and sell supplies? I was getting a lot of things imported from America that were quite costly. So it's like, if I got this in a bigger scale and sold it on, actually what kind of margins could I make on that? And so I started looking into it, and the Shire Bakery was born.
So why the Shire Bakery?
Yeah, that's
Is it to do with Lord of the Rings?
It's not. So where I grew up in Lincolnshire, it's one of those things that it's got a really personal meaning to me and no one else at all. So where I grew up was a really small market town, and everyone called it the Shire. And when we went out, so we would go out to Peterborough or Stamford for like nights out, and when it was time to go home, we'd be like, do you want to go back to the Shire? And the Shire was home, and it was comfort and cheese on toast at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's what the Shire was. So when I set up the Shire Bakery, the whole aim of it was for outstanding products for the home baker. And that mantra was there. And that's why still now I like to deliver a quality of product that is very appealing, but is for the home baker, and it's for them to inspire creativity themselves.
That's fabulous.
I know.
So it just came to you one night.
Literally, yeah, came to me, and then I made some awful mistakes putting the website together, and for all I worked in advertising, didn't really think about the message or the website or the logo, so got a cheap website built, got a cheap logo made, and it did all right for a year. It was fine. And then I decided if I was going to make a go of this and make it into actually, because at the time it was a side hustle, I was still working full time. So it was like, how am I going to make this a full-time thing? And instantly I knew, like, I've worked in marketing, it needs to be my brand. It needs to start with my brand. I need to work with an agency who, I'm not very artistic, but get my message and put it into the form that it needs to be and give it the look. So that's when I met Canny Creative. And Tony, who's got Canny Creative, one of my friends now, he met me for a coffee, and we were there for about 4 hours. And he just got me instantly. It was really, really good. It was a nice meeting. He got that I've loved colour. I've loved colour since I was a child. I'm not very artistic, I can't draw. So in my head I didn't think I was that creative, but I love colour and boldness and uniqueness, and I very much wanted to send out a message that this brand was fun and it was for all ages. So that's when the logo came up with a candle and a party vibe. And yeah, and I've continually worked with Tony on all of my branding and every message I've wanted to send out, and building a subscription platform, and he's proven to be more than just a designer.
So when did you go from baking supplies to sprinkles?
About 2 years ago, I tried sprinkles and failed miserably. I tried things that I thought would work, but just didn't. And then one of the companies I used sent me a whole bunch of samples, and I was really bored, and I was making cupcakes for my husband. He loves cake. And I just mixed all the sprinkles together and put them on the cake to use them, and was like, wow, that looks incredible. And thought, actually, rather than selling all these little hundreds and thousands here and there that you can get on the shelves of the supermarkets, how about just go out? Like I am a bold individual person, so go out there and like put that into your sprinkle mixes. And that's what I did. And so I sourced unusual shapes like dinosaurs. Like I went I didn't go, but I got some sprinkles from America that you couldn't get in the UK, and mixed them and did all these things, got some really good photographs. I had 4 sprinkle mixes. I had 12 kilos of each, and they sold out within about 3 weeks. So I was like, okay, I'm on to something. I started looking at the competition. At that point, I still didn't realise sprinkles was where I wanted to go. I was still thinking more along the lines of piping nozzles and cookie cutters, but then creating sprinkle mixes created like a beast inside of me that really, really enjoyed. Like I loved it. It was like being a child with Play-Doh. So I was experimenting and playing around with things, and I was becoming a bit of a talking point, and I was starting to compete against some of the really big guys in baking. I got blocked on Instagram by quite a few people who I really admired, which to me, my husband was like, oh my God, you must be devastated. And I was like, no, it's brilliant. If a company with like 1 million followers can block me, like I must be doing something right. So yeah, then I started really, that's when I just went full-fledged, put a huge sale on, sold all of the crappy bits that everyone sells. And I was like, stop selling everything and just really focus on cake toppers, sprinkles and colours, and that is now what I do.
Is there a bestseller? Is there something which is like everyone can't get enough of?
There's loads actually. So at different times of year,
makes sense. Yeah,
you sell different things. So I get at Valentine's Day loads of hearts, all the romancy pinky mixes. I've got a mix called Dino Party, which is all dinosaurs of all colours of the rainbow, really popular. That I sell all year round. And we have a couple of sprinkles that the Magnolia Bakery in New York get, and we're the only seller so far in the UK of them. We sell boatloads of those. Every week I'm sending boxes and boxes, to the point where I now just ship pallets and pallet loads at a time every 3 months. Generally, the American sprinkles sell really well because they are so vibrant and people know all of the New York bakeries and they want that look for their cake. So that sells really well.
So when did you think, a subscription model would be a good thing to do?
When I was drunk.
No.
When I was drunk. So yeah, I was a bit tipsy one night and I decided to sign up to a health magazine.
Like you do.
And which I never opened, and I was like, these subscriptions, you don't mind paying £4 a month or £5 a month. And then I thought, oh, hang on, I could do that. So yeah, I set up a subscription model for bi-monthly sprinkles. I remember when we first launched it, it took months to launch, getting everything set up on the website, getting the packaging right. Launched it, and I remember we launched it on a Sunday in October, and I'd said to my husband, if we get 20 sign-ups, I'm going to take you out. And we got 100 sign-ups on the first day, so it was phenomenal.
Yeah, take him out like a lot of times.
Yeah, I took him out twice, so he was very lucky. Good boy, he was a good boy. But no, so the subscription thing has stayed, and it's been something I've now grown. So now we have different tiers. So again, we have a lot of professional bakers, and we have a lot of people that just bake with their children, and they're my favourite customers, if the truth be told, because actually you get sent the photos and you get sent nice letters and you see everything that they tag you in, and it's cute because like I baked as a child with my nana, and that's a huge part of this business as well, is like childhood memories of baking with like special people. So to see like children do that, and to have an option that's £4 a month or an option that's £20 a month, I think is a good thing for people. We like to be able to cater for the masses.
Excellent. So I remember a really hilarious story you told me once.
Oh no.
About wandering around just in Gosforth, and somebody recognised you. Do you want to tell us that story?
Yeah, so I didn't have that many followers on like social media and things, and someone just stopped me one day and went, oh my God, it's Carly from the Shire Bakery. And it was a teenage girl, a teenage girl, and she asked me for a photograph, and it was a really cute moment, and I've had a few of them since then. And I don't think I'm famous by any means, but I feel a little bit special, and it's really nice. I think if I can inspire a couple of children to buy sprinkles and bake, I think I've done my bit. It's much better than some of the other things I could be getting up to in the evenings.
No, definitely. So your Instagram, it's just gorgeous. It's just colour and fun and just beautiful cakes, and you share cakes that your customers have made. It was
banana bread with Nutella frosting on the other day.
I should have brought one round, shouldn't I? That's one of my recipes. Yeah, I have to. It's not all about selling and sprinkles as much as I would love it to be, but I like to actually give something back, and it's good. I sell products and I want to use them myself, and I'm passionate about what I sell. I'm passionate about the message it sends out. I'm passionate about sustainability and food waste, which is where the banana bread came in. We always have bananas in the house.
And they're always black within 2 days.
Yes, and the thing is, if you're a baker, even if you're not, do this. Black bananas are liquid gold. Put them in the freezer and you can take them out and make a banana bread. That will make the nicest banana bread, or freeze them and just blitz them with a bit of cocoa powder, and it makes a really nice ice cream. But it's always nice to be able to offer recipes and things like that, and some of the recipes on there have been inspired by like my nana, who was absolutely a massive part of me setting this business up and was really supportive. When she passed away, I did what I've now called the Nana cake, which is like, she used to love it. It was made with like a champagne and strawberry jam, and that's still one of the most popular recipes on the website. And it's nice that something that's actually really personal to me is shared by like, I don't know how many people, but it's a nice feeling that you can like share something.
You've mentioned there about sustainability, so how does that fit into your business?
Yeah, so one of my friends set up a company called the Green Beehive, and it's all she's massive on sustainability. That and a few programs and things that put it on my radar. I sell a lot of things, like the sprinkle mixes are made ourselves, but a lot of the other products we sell come quite heavily wrapped in plastics. There's a lot of single-use plastics in our industry, and it just was something that it was on my radar and became very apparent. And then when I started keeping an eye out on it, I kept noticing there's plastic everywhere. And I just wanted to be the change. So I started talking to a manufacturer about pouches, got biodegradable pouches in, tested them for a year, had them put in compost heaps, put them in the recycling bin, spoke to councils, really got my shit together on biodegradable and bioplastics and what the differences were, and getting everything sorted. And then, the biodegradable packaging is perfect. Now let's look at labelling. Went to a specialised company to do that. We're now looking at, we're going to be using a paper tape when everything comes out. And so far in the industry, worldwide, we are the only company using a completely 100% biodegradable packaging and really doing our bit to reduce plastic in our industry. We put money into the Rainforest Alliance. I think it's something that we need to be passionate about. I've got a 5-year-old niece, and she has mentioned it. And if it's on a 5-year-old's radar, like, she shouldn't be dealing with that problem. We should be dealing with it so she doesn't have to. It's massive at the minute. Everyone's talking about it, and it's something that I really do want to disrupt the industry. And I've called some people out on it and really made a point. I'm not here to be secretive about it. I've said to competitors, like, come talk to me. Like, I'll give you information on where you can go, what you can do, things you can work towards. And I hope that moving forward that does work, because I think it's got to be one of the worst industries for doing it. People do get really annoyed with me about the plastic thing, because I am annoying about it. I know I'm annoying. I annoy myself. I go home at night sometimes and just read up on it, just so I've got ammunition. And I get a bit of shade thrown my way across social media about it, and I'm not afraid to fight back, to be honest.
I've seen some of the fighting back. I enjoy that.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do something, do it with passion. I come from a very passionate family, and if I need to get my point across, I don't care if I piss a few people off along the way. Ironically, some of the people who like to throw shade at you work for plastic companies. I think that's a trend, talking to other people. But I'm doing my bit, and I'm not apologetic about it. And I am the only one currently who is doing it. So, challenge me. Bring it on.
But the problem as well is those companies are the ones that haven't foreseen things like this coming along. They've not started to make plastic equivalents made of cornstarch or paper packaging. They're probably thinking, shit, we're going out of business in the next 2 to 3 years, because all of a sudden people are... I mean, we've talked about, if you think about back to the 80s, I remember being back at school, we talked about global warming, climate change, plastic waste, fossil fuels, and yes, there's been some progress made in other sources of energy, but it's all a bit sort of... we've now got hybrid cars, but it's 30 years or more later, and you think, have we really done anything to progress? And it's only now that maybe social media is a great thing for that we've got more awareness of what's happening, that there is a problem, the Amazon's burning, and so these companies are backed up against the wall thinking, we've not done anything with R&D to change our product range.
And you've got the likes of like Greta.
Yeah.
She's 16. And she's autistic, and that girl is fighting a battle that politicians are afraid to fight. And I could go into it and actually get really political about that, and the whole point of, if children are standing up and telling us to change things, not even just about plastics, about gun laws in America and things, it's time to take notice, because actually it's their future. Let's not disrupt their future. Let's give These kids should be at school, and I love the fact that, more so than Extinction Rebellion actually, that children make a bigger impact in my eyes to step out of school and say, do you know what, we'll risk our education and our future because our world is more important. And it's really, really important to me, actually. I'm quite passionate about it now. I'm not fully equipped on all of the knowledge, but I just think if everyone did their bit, you can change the world.
It's not about everyone doing everything perfectly.
Absolutely
It's everyone
not.
just trying.
Exactly.
Rather than saying, no, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to do the same thing as I've always done and not change a thing.
Like, let's be honest, who likes cleaning out the peanut butter jar? That is the worst job. And I like
what?
Yeah, but Mickey Flanagan did a sketch on it about how you launch it in the bin in secret, and like everyone's probably done that because no one is perfect. But I think the point is, if everyone does a little bit, you can make a change.
You can. And when you talk about the peanut butter jar going out, I still remember the days when we didn't have recycling bins.
Yeah,
it was just everything went in the same bin. And the Germans have been doing it for many, many years before us. But now we've all got 3 bins, if you're lucky, if the council pays for it. You've got one for your garden rubbish, one for your plastics and papers and recyclables, and your general waste. And you think, I actually look now, it's scary to think what you're putting out in your, well, depending on the colour. Okay, mine's a blue bin, that's the recyclable one. What you're putting into that was just going in general waste to be landfilled
exactly,
and
like
incinerated.
What does thrown away mean? Like you're just throwing away the problem from your own shoulders, kind of thing.
But
it's fascinating.
That's a change though that we've kind of, now we just accept it.
Definitely. And like my auntie lives in Norway, and she's got about 7 bins, and it's like, this one's for the animals, and this one's for, like, the food waste goes here, and they do it to another level and have been doing it for years, like you say about Germany. And there's so much to learn from other countries, and they're doing it. So there's no excuse. Like, there really isn't an excuse. And I think it's just really, really important. And if other companies follow suit, like, I'm just one person with a little company. You've got really big companies out there who have factories in China and this, that and the other, and they're still putting their stuff in plastic, in single-use plastics, and to me, I'm baffled because I can keep my costs quite low by using a biodegradable material and making sure actually that the factory it's manufactured in doesn't burn fossil fuels. That's important to me. And that's just me, one person. What about these people that have got hundreds, if not thousands of employees and factories? You can do it. It's not impossible.
I think now consumers are becoming more, I wouldn't say the word woke, but more aware of this, the situation. I think the consumers will lead the companies to change.
Yes, Marks and Spencers are doing it already, and it's brilliant. There are some big companies out there now sticking their 2 pennies in, and I think that's it's good because I'm just one voice, and I don't in a huge industry. So if the likes of Warburtons, who have now done all of their bread bags are recyclable, that's massive. So if other companies can do that, then do it and shout about it.
Where does your energy and inspiration come from then, do you think?
So I am from a family where it's mainly women and they're all very passionate, powerful people. Actually, not women. They're highly influential. Not in career or anything like that, but they're strong. They're strong women, and they are very empowered. And that's given me a sense of independence that I'm really, really proud of. Also, I've got a husband who I have to say is unfaltering and unwavering in his support of what I do. He is always he's not always in agreement with me, but he always gets why I'm doing something and sees the bigger vision, and thankfully is the yin to my yang, because I'm not scared of a risk. As Michelle knows, I would think nothing of dropping a few £1,000 on something that might work. Phil sometimes is the person that brings that back down to earth and gives me all of the pros and cons and really lets me discuss it before inevitably I go and do it anyway. But
you've at least had the option to talk it through.
And I think bringing him on the journey with me has been fabulous, actually, because it's made our relationship grow in a way that I don't think it would have had I not have decided to be an entrepreneur. And we've been quite resilient, and we've learned about grit and in a relationship. But also it's flourished, and it's been really, really nice.
So, what is next for Team Morgan?
Team Morgan. So, ever the unconventionalists, we are parenthood is looming. I'm not pregnant because I'm drinking wine, but we have decided to go down the adoption route, which has been a passion of mine since I can remember, and has been something that me and my husband have talked about in depth for a lot of years, and became quite more important to us this year. So we've decided to go down the adoption route. And so regarding business, that's going to be not my best friend anymore. I think it's like the Shire Bakery has been my best friend, and I've been very, very grateful of that, but that's going to take a slight back seat while we prepare for parenthood.
And so what have you done about the business? What plans have you put in place to enable you to be able to change direction in life a little bit?
So it's a pivot, definitely. Pivot. But we don't want to slow the business down as such, but we will be changing direction. So we'll be looking at fulfillment. We might be slowing things down a tiny bit in the first 6 months when we get matched with the child and have all the fun, exciting times. But after that, my mum worked for me being a child. I think it's a really positive influence on a child to actually see a parent work. We are going to be bringing some of the business back home. So my home office is going to get kitted out, and we're going to have a mini desk put in. So brilliant. That when we need to, and mummy needs to work, that baby Morgan can come and have a little desk and do a little bit of work as well. So and that's really I think that's cute and exciting and fun. So that's what's next for Team Morgan.
Okay, so how have you found the whole process of going through that potential adoptive parent process?
exciting. It's scary. Quite probably exactly the same as pregnancy in the sense that you don't really know what's happening. No. And to a point with pregnancy, there's, other people that have been pregnant. With adoption, it's quite lonely sometimes. You don't necessarily know people who have adopted. Some people's journeys are quite personal. Ours certainly has had its ups and downs on becoming parents, but adoption was what we wanted to do. But I think, the journey's exciting overall. You learn a lot about each other. You have a lot to talk about. I think it's something, if you've got an inkling to do, you should definitely chase, because it's fabulous. It's a really nice process. Everyone's been brilliant. It's not as scary as I think we thought it was going to be. It's been cathartic in some areas. It's been really tough in others. You have to address your whole life and what brings you to where you are now, and that's not always easy, but it makes you stronger as a person. It's good character building, and I think all in all it sets you up to be a well-rounded parent. It's a brilliant process, and Adopt North East are great advocates for adoption.
I know we were talking before, over a glass of wine, about the difference between the hoops you potentially have to go through to become a parent through the adoption route.
Yeah.
And so why? Because it's probably easier for a lot of people just to get pregnant. So why did you choose that route?
Well, we've tried for a long time to get pregnant, and it hasn't happened. And we always wanted to adopt. And I think we probably thought, let's do it biologically and then we'll adopt. And that just hasn't worked for us. So we've went down the adoption route first. We still might have a biological child afterwards. That's something that we'll cross when we come to it. Either way, we want to be a parent. The outcome will be exactly the same. It just starts a little differently. But I think the training that we'll get, potentially as well, will set us up to be brilliant biological parents later in life, if that's the path that we then go down. Because what you don't get when you're pregnant is a full knowledge of what children go through and actually how resilient or unresilient they are in certain things. And it's a really interesting process, is child development, and one I've thoroughly enjoyed learning about, actually. As brutal as some of the stories can be, it's a really enjoyable experience.
Excellent.
And I was just thinking that when baby Morgan is a bit older and someone asks, what does mummy do? She makes cupcakes and cakes. Really cool.
Yeah, she's the sprinkle queen.
She's the sprinkle queen. What a claim to fame that is at school.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think that'll be cool. I think it'll be good to collaborate with them as well and get them to make their own little sprinkle mixes. And
James has got this thing, this little boy that he loves following on Facebook. He makes cakes with his mum.
Roman, he's called. I think he's 3 now.
Is he American?
Yeah. He makes pizza and...
It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you, mummy.
But that's it. And this is another thing. I've got my nephew lives down south, so he's not up as much. My 3 nieces, one's brand new, so she's not very good at baking.
No.
But I've got my 5-year-old and my 2-year-old nieces, Sophia and Chloe, who are phenomenal. They come to our house and they know when they walk in, there's aprons in the utility room that are theirs. They've got their own aprons. They go in, they get their aprons. They get a little seat that they stand up on, and they help me in the kitchen. And it's something I used to do as a child. It's something that I think is really important for children. They help every time they come round for a meal. There is a job for them to do. Chloe's 2, so she's not that great at much in the way of cooking, but she's really good at taking things to the table and getting the napkins out, and she can make a mean milkshake, and that's been really good. And they bake with me, and it's a lovely process, actually, to see children in the kitchen with you, and me not making a big thing of it. It's just a natural thing. It's like, you get in that kitchen, you help me. Auntie Carly needs help, and I think definitely all parents should get their kids in the kitchen, however hard that might be. It's actually a really fun process.
Yeah, it's confidence building as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm all about that. I think as a child, I was always in the kitchen. My grandfather was Malaysian. He was always cooking up some fabulous saltfish and curries and fabulous meals. And then my nana used to bake all the time. So I was always in the kitchen. I'm obsessed with food. But I love cooking. I love the science behind it. This is why I love baking, because
It's chemistry.
it's chemistry. There is an art to it, and there is a way to make it look beautiful. And I like pretty things. And so when I cook a meal and people on my Instagram will see my food and things, I like things to look pretty. I like things to be aesthetically pleasing. I like colour, and that's why the sprinkles are so colourful. I've got hundreds of rainbow mixes. And I do brilliant at Pride. Everyone is all about this rainbow mixes at Pride. But yeah, I think confidence building in the kitchen is something that encourage everyone to get in the kitchen and get cooking, if not baking. My husband now cooks a mean chocolate cake. It is the only thing he can cook. Single-handedly the only thing he can make, but he does a really good one.
Brilliant. So, if we parked a DeLorean outside and you could go back and speak to 18-year-old Carly, first of all, would she listen to anything you said?
She might be drunk.
What would you say to her, though, if you could try and say something to her?
Embrace the madness.
Ooh.
And really, really love your individuality, because you'll realise it's your biggest asset.
Great.
Yeah, I
Very
think
powerful.
it is too. But yeah, definitely embrace the madness. Like, I have been surrounded by madness, and it really embarrassed me when I was a kid. But actually now I think it's been the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Awesome. So if you are a home baker, if you like following really colourful, lovely pictures of sprinkles and food and cakes, and what is the best way to find you?
So the best thing to do is to look on my website, www.theshirebakery.com, or check me out on Instagram at Shire Bakery.
Yeah, we love that.
Cool. Well, thank you ever so much for coming to Inspiration North headquarters, otherwise known as Michelle's attic, around the corner from your house.
Woo!
And we are very much taking you up on the offer to come and have espresso martinis, which is another thing your husband is very good at.
Oh
Apparently.
yes, actually, yeah, he's crap at cooking but brilliant at cocktail making.
Whoop, whoop.
And he looks a little bit like Tom Cruise in his good days, not to add.
Yes. I was about to tell the story about the time I caught you snogging some bloke outside.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It's like Collie's kissing some guy outside the hub.
It's my hot husband.
Well, thank you ever so much.
Yes,
Thank you for
thanks.
having me, guys.
Thanks everyone for listening. Check out all the show notes at inspirationnorth.com. Join us again for the next episode, when we'll be chatting to another inspirational person. If you like this, subscribe and tell your friends. If you didn't like this, subscribe anyway.
And tell everybody.